What is up, Sheepdog Nation? What the hell is going on? I want to welcome you to another episode with your host, me, Autumn Clifford. I'm really happy to have you here. I really want to just, kind of give a shout out to all of you, Sheepdog Nation, to all my brothers and sisters in blue right now out there fighting the good fight. Holy fuck, this has been a hell of a couple of weeks for law enforcement. They're fucking picking us off like nothing. And, I want to just advise you all to be vigilant, fucking have each other six and really fucking, do things as safe as possible. I just want to reiterate that, take a moment of silence for all of our lost brothers and sisters this past week. And say a little prayer that we all come home safe at the end of every shift, right? And fucking just be safe even when you're not on shift. All right, so what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about getting into a cop's head. And the reason I want to talk about this is because, there's a lot of shit in the media right now, as always, thanks to our old fucking presidency, 8 years of this bullshit that we're fighting, that cops don't have any emotions. Cops are robotic. Cops don't give a fuck, we got fucking companies like motherfucking Starbucks. All right. Did you guys read about that? How fucking Starbucks wouldn't let two cops go in and use the bathroom because they didn't buy fucking coffee from them? Okay. Boycott Starbucks. Fuck Starbucks. I will never buy anything from those motherfuckers again. Like, who do you think you fucking are? Starbucks. These fucking police officers, excuse me that you're on their beat and they need to use the bathroom, and excuse me because they didn't fucking want to buy a fucking $5 goddamn coffee, which I can't even fucking pronounce all the goddamn ingredients in it or the fucking name of the goddamn thing. Like, fuck you. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? Man, that pisses me off. So just a little heads up. You may be liking Starbucks. I'm telling you right now, go find another fucking place to buy your coffee. Fuck them. We have no fucking time for them in Sheepdog Nation. So we've got places like that, and we've got fucking companies and, fucking idiots that just have no idea about, what it's like to be a cop, and they don't know how to get into our heads, right? And so that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. If you're brand new to me, I want to welcome you. I'm sorry I started it off bringing the heat without even warning you. So now would be a good time for you to pause this and put some goddamn headphones on if you've got children or if you are in public, because clearly, I swear, and I get pretty hot and heated about some shit. So make sure that you're in an appropriate place. Again, if you're brand new to me, I want to welcome you to me. I want to introduce myself to you really quickly. So I have been a police officer since I've been 20 years old. Unfortunately, about 6.5 years in, I got hurt. I got injured on duty. I got a back injury. And so it caused me to have to medically retire. But the thing is that blue is in my blood. And I can't ever stop, and I will never stop. I can't stop sticking up for law enforcement. I'm a cop's cop. I'm marrying a cop. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Once you're a cop, you're always a cop, and I don't give a fuck. I tell Adam, like, we go back and forth. He's like, Autumn, you're not a cop anymore. And I'm like, no, I'm a fucking cop, dude. Like, fuck you. You met me in the police academy. Sometimes I got more fucking wits about me than you do. Like, no, I'm still a fucking cop, right? And of course, him being my fiance, he just fucking rolls his eyes, but that's the way it is. So you come here to me because I'm bringing the heat. I'm bringing the truth bomb. I'm going to tell you exactly the way it is. I'll tell everybody the way it is. And one day, I promise you, I'm going to help change law enforcement, get us some support, really try to help bring down the suicide rate, which is killing me. Bring down the death toll of law enforcement, which is fucking killing all of us, that's why you're here. And this is what I do. If you are a woman who wants to be in law enforcement, or you are brand new to law enforcement, you're just in, I have created what I call the Lady Sheepdog movement. You want to be a part of that. I have literally created a fucking entire library full of videos and audios and trainings and everything you need to know about fucking the job and FTO and getting off, getting through the getting through the hiring process. Before that, everything you need to know about college classes, how to pick them. I mean, fucking everything is very extensive. There's nothing out there like it. With the first nationwide like lady law enforcement support course that I've ever found. So anyways, you want to the link will be dropped below. You're going to want to get a hold of that and get into it. You can do it free for 7 days. You can't fucking beat it. Go check it out. And with that being said, if you're not following me on Instagram, I don't know why the fuck you're not, but you need to find me at the Lady Sheepdog. And if you're not in our closed Facebook group, come on in. It's called Sheepdog Nation. There's two. There is two, but you're going to notice that the one is mine. It matches the podcast dog, like the cover photo. I have to tell you a funny story. Recently I was in a Facebook group, and it's a Facebook Live group, and those are very unique groups. And a wife came in and started talking shit about a Sheepdog Nation group, and I thought it was mine. So fucking me, I'm like, what? But it wasn't mine. She was talking about how like some group called Sheepdog Nation or some shit like that. They had like a lot of provocative photos of women and shit in there, and it kind of fired me up. And I'm going to tell you why. Listen, guys, y'all are fucking dogs. And I know that because I worked with you since I've been 20 years old. Like, I get it. I've been working with cops for a long time. I know men, right? Fucking practically had to goddamn be one to fit in. No problem. I'm marrying one, and I know men, right? But here's the thing. If you're a fucking female and you want to be a cop, put your tits away, put some fucking, take off some fucking makeup, put your hair back, and goddamn be a lady sheepdog and get the fucking job done. You don't need to be putting no fucking provocative fucking photos. You don't need to be taking no motherfucking boudoir photos of yourself in your fucking uniform. I mean, hello. So that was my little rant on that. But if you've been following me for a little while, then you know how I feel about that. All right, let's dive in. Let's get into a cop's head. All right, so straight up, doing this because of all the shit that's been going on. I'm tired of the misconceptions. I'm tired of people thinking that cops have no feelings. I'm tired of people thinking that cops aren't human. I'm tired of, us as cops, like wondering why in the fuck, is this normal, or is what I'm doing? Like, am I normal? Is this what everybody does? Like, yeah. So I'm tired of, I'm tired of all that. I want to just kind of set the record straight for everybody. I want everyone to know. I want, if you're a civilian listening to this, I want you to know like where the police officers are coming from. And if you're a cop, I want you to know like where you're coming from, and you just don't even realize it. I think there's a lot of false beliefs. I think that there's like a lot of, shit that goes around. Fucking cops, fucking pigs, they're fucking robots. They don't know what the fuck they're, all this shit. And we're going to set that straight. Okay. So here's the thing. When we show up on calls as police officers, here's what you need to understand. Okay. Is that we are there to solve a fucking problem. You called us because you have a problem. We are there to solve a problem. Now, we do not have all fucking day to be at your beck and call. I wish that we did, but we fucking don't, because as it is, resources are fucking very slim. Okay. And after your call, we got about 20 other motherfuckers that we got to go and we got to help. And that's totally being sarcastic because I'm totally acting like I'm a cop, but no, it's true. Like, and here's the thing about cops, and like people really need to kind of give credit where credit's due, is like when we show up, like we definitely are going like all in and like definitely going to help you with whatever your problem is. And we like don't ever think that like a police officer is not, but you have to understand, like, we're not going to be super emotional. Like that's just not, we're just very much not going to. We're trained and definitely not to do that. We're also not going to, like, I don't know how to explain it. I'm trying to think how to say it. Like, we're going to find the quickest way to solve that problem. Okay. And the quickest way is for us to stay objective and not become emotionally involved. Okay. We are not going to, we're definitely not going to waste any time, and we're going to go through our checklist. So like as a police officer, we have checklists in our heads. I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes, but like, we're going to go through the checklist of, what we have at every single call and see, okay, like how have I solved this problem before and I can solve it again, and like, that's the thing is like, we're, police officers go to everybody's worst fucking days. Right. And you got to give credit because like they, police, like we care, like we're there and like, we're giving our all to solve your problem. And like, it's very emotionally taxing. And because I want you to just put the shoe on the other foot. Like, imagine if that's all you did all day long was go to everybody else's problems, and you had to show up and you had to be fucking all in, and you had to be fucking, I'm here, Superman, Superwoman, like, I'm going to solve this problem. And sometimes as an officer, you know that you can't. I've had, I've had calls where it was really hard. Like, I had like an elderly woman or elderly man, or, or I remember having this young, I'll tell you this one, it just came to my head and it fucking sucked. Is I got this call and I had to go to this house because a dog had been shot. Their pet had been shot. Or no, it wasn't even that. It was a theft. Okay, so I get there and their fucking pet dog was shot right in the fucking head, and whoever shot them put it on the hood of their car. So I get there for a potential theft or some shit, and everyone is just fucking hysterical. And I'm a dog girl, okay? Like, I love cats, but I love dogs. Like, I'm like this crazy person, like this dog whisperer who just fucking gets dogs, and like, that's just who I love, right? Like, I'm just crazy like that. And so, like, I'm literally holding the tears back, like, holy fucking shit. And you know what, you guys? There's nothing that I could have fucking done to help these people. They knew who did it. They knew. And the kid, and it was a kid. It was a fucking, like, I don't know, 16-year-old kid. And he told me, he's like, I know who did this. And this sucks. And and that was a problem. I got called. It was a very real problem. But there was nothing I could have done. And you need to understand, like, as a cop, that's tough, because, like, you sign up for this job and, like, you want to make a difference, right? Like, you definitely signed up to make a difference. And, like, part of that making a difference is, solving problems and helping people. And go to calls like this and you just can't help them. Yeah, I'll tell you, I've been to multiple calls like that, but that one was the one that stuck out in my head to tell you tonight. And I mean, it just sucks. And so, you kind of got to have compassion for officers like that too, like, you got to give credit to where credit's due. And, like, so many people in our nation right now just aren't, and they haven't been. And, like, today I'm on my Facebook and I see a post, fucking cops. And so, of course, catch my attention. And I'm like, whoop. What do you mean, fucking cops? And why the hell are you on my Facebook, right? So I'm immediately pissed off. And she goes, fucking cop, he pulled me over. He thought that I was texting, because apparently they're doing this texting and driving, whatever. What's it called? Fucking detail or whatever. And I wasn't texting and driving, and he let me go. But what was he thinking? And I fucking went right on there. I'm like, are you out of your goddamn mind? I said, damn, those cops, what were they thinking pulling you over? She didn't know how to fucking respond to that. And I only got to laugh out loud. And then I unfriended her ass as quick as fucking shit. But I'm telling you right now, like, where would we be without cops? Like, seriously, that's what I want to tell all these fucking idiots. Like, okay, why don't you go police yourself? And guess what? The next time you fucking need help, call a motherfucking crackhead, because that's about what would be left if the cops decided to go away. Fucking, ugh. Okay, anyways. So we need, like, this is getting into a police officer's head, right? And, like, that's very frustrating when we can't solve problems, but, like, we are supposed to be solving problems. That's how we are trained. We are very highly trained. And not only that, like, something you need to know is that, like, even though we go to, like, so many different kinds of calls, right? And, like, no call is ever the same, and things are different, but they're still the same. Like, the core of them are the same. And, like, so what I was talking about, the checklist, right? Is we have a checklist. Like, we go through our, like, you have to understand, like, how we can get through, like, and how we can become efficient is because we have a checklist. Sometimes cops, like, especially rookies, like, we have, like, legitimate checklists that we go through. But, like, you develop a checklist in your head, and that's what you go through. And that's how you, like, that's how you figure shit out. And like, that's how you figure out what, if this, like, whatever's going on matches their criteria for like a crime, right? Or whatever type of crime. You're like, okay, is it a theft by unauthorized taking? Is it a theft by deception? Is it, where does it fit? Is it harassment? Or is it criminal threatening? Like, what is this? Is it anything? And so, or is it civil? Right? Like, we have to figure all this shit out. And so, we have this checklist. And so you have to understand, like, you call a police officer or police officers on the side of the road, like, dealing with you. And like, that's what's going on in our heads. It's like, okay, does this fit into a checklist? Right? Does this criteria fit to where it needs to be? Is this a crime? Is this, a citation? Is this a crime? Is this civil? And then from there, we're like, okay, what kind of action should I take that's going to have the most, like, good effect? Like, here's what you need to understand, okay, as a civilian. Most cops are not, like, arrest happy. I mean, you do have some, I'm not gonna lie, okay? Like, we have those, and if you're an arrest happy cop, you better not be arresting your fucking brothers and sisters in blue. But other than that, we have this idea, like, everybody just thinks like cops just want to go make all these arrests. But let me just fucking tell you, do you know how much goddamn work it is to fucking be arresting everybody all the time? I mean, for fuck's sake, especially if you work in a busy, like, a city. Like, I used to work in a city. Both agencies I worked for were city departments, and we were fucking busy. The first department I ever worked for, city department that I worked for, we were fucking busy. Okay. And like, I had to arrest people. I mean, I'd have 5 arrests in one shift. I mean, and I was fucking cooking. And that'd be nothing for me, to be quite honest. But I mean, it's still a lot of work. And so, like, it just kind of depends, like, if, whatever. But people, what you need to understand is, like, we're not all about arresting people. And like, we all know that people go to jail and get the fuck out really fast. And what we all know is that the recidivism rate is very fucking high, right? So people go in, they come back out. And then they go back in, and then they come back out, and then they got to go back in. So it's like, as a police officer too, especially if you're a little more veteran, you're always looking for a way to solve the problem. Okay. Not just put a Band-Aid on it and send someone to jail. We all know that we have those fucking people who fucking love jail, that could give a shit less. They're career criminals, and they go to jail. Their whole fucking family's in jail. So when they go to jail, it's a goddamn family reunion. But we all know that we have those kinds of people. But like, when you become a little bit more veteran, 2-3 years on, you've got, your feet underneath you, and you're like, okay, like, I've been dealing with Johnny the same way, and all these other cops have been dealing with him. Like, I'm gonna deal with it different, and anyway, so I don't really know why I'm going on this rant, but I just want you to know that, like, cops are there to solve problems. We do look robotic, but we're not. We have fucking checklists that we have to go through, and like, we're not all like arrest happy, right? Like, we're not, like, we're out there to solve fucking problem. Like, that's it, and like, and just to kind of loop it back around to like that girl who's all pissed off, like, she got fucking pulled over. It's like, you dumbass, you probably were on your fucking phone, number one. Number two, who gives a fuck? The cops are doing your job, but if they let you go, they let you go. Like, oh, I'm just kind of like sick and tired of people like not wanting to be bothered. But here's what you have to understand is that police officers, like, traffic stops stop and solve so much crime that you can't even imagine. Like, I went through a traffic, in the academy. We went through it was a traffic stop class, and it lasted 4 fucking hours. And like, and they were just talking about like how much crime, is solved by just doing the traffic stop, just basic traffic stop. Like, stop everyone you can. Doesn't mean you got to ticket everybody. Just stop everyone you can, because you just never fucking know what you're going to find. And yet everybody just seems to think that fucking they are just beyond getting stopped by the police. But here's what I want to say. If you're not fucking breaking the law, and if you're respectful, shut the fuck up. It's going to take 10 minutes. Just shut the fuck up, because the officer is just doing their job, right? Like, but if you hide your hands, if you're making fucking furtive, movements, if you're talking back to the police officer, if you're frigging swearing at them, if you decide to get out of your car, if you decide to do any of that stupid shit, then like, you're going to lead yourself right into another fucking problem. Right. And it's not going to be good for you, which is, kind of leads me into the next thing is that, cops are taught and trained to protect, okay? Protect themselves and protect you and protect the community. So you have to understand, like, we're always constantly looking, scanning for the problem, scanning for a threat, and figuring out how we can do that, whether it's protecting our asses or protecting you as the community, protecting your ass, And, a lot of people don't understand that. And like, we hear a lot, especially being a police spouse, I hear a lot of like, oh, can't go to like these restaurants, or when we go to the restaurant, like, usually the Leo wants to put face their back against the wall. And like, we all have heard that. And it is very fucking true. But like, what we hear less of is like when they're on the road, like, right. We are in prime crime fighting, like, state of mind, and like we're on the road and we're fucking, we're uniformed and we're on patrol. And that's what we're doing. So like, we are looking to protect you. So maybe like that traffic stop that, we're doing these traffic stops. How do we know that? Like, and we want to talk to the people that are in the car because something to us looks suspicious. It just doesn't look right. Our guts are saying something's wrong. And how do we know that that this person doesn't have somebody kidnapped in the trunk? How do we know that the people, the occupants of the vehicle, like, want to be there or don't want to be there? How do we know that there's not a crime going on? How do we know that like there isn't massive guns or bombs in the car? And like, maybe as a civilian, you're like, oh, Autumn, you're blowing this out of proportion. But let me just tell you a quick little story. So in the academy, I took a training by these Maine state troopers, and they were telling us that, do you guys remember like several years ago and I can't remember, I want to say it was the Batman movie, and this guy dressed up like the Joker, and he went into a movie theater and there was a mass shooting, and he just fucking unloaded into a movie theater. Well, guess what? The Maine State Police fucking stopped a guy like that next week that had several guns in his fucking vehicle, headed up to Saco, which happens to be the fucking city I used to patrol, and stopped him because he was going to the movie theater to do the same fucking thing. Like, that's a real fucking story. And it was just off a traffic stop. There was no information, no nothing. It was a trooper doing his job or her job. And like, they fucking killed it. They did excellent. They stopped and they saved a lot of lives. And so like, if you're a civilian listening to this and like you get pissed off every time that you get stopped, like, you need to stop and like really listen to my story and understand, like, we are out to like save lives. And like, I know how the media's portrayed us and I know what it looks like, but I'm telling you that is not what we're out to do. Okay. And listen, I'm not saying there's not some like, power hungry, like some bad cops. Of course there's some bad cops out there. There's bad doctors, there's bad lawyers, there's bad nurses, there's bad fucking teachers, there's bad priests, there's bad fucking people in every occupation, right? There just are. Okay. And so, thinking because you've come across like, or you've heard a story about a bad cop, thinking that like every cop is bad, like that's just like thinking every single teacher is bad, or, every doctor is bad, or every nurse is bad. Like, I mean, that's just not how it is. And so anyways, I just want you to hear me out and like really try to come with me and get into a police officer's head so that you can understand the next time that you have interaction with a police officer, whether you're a spouse of one, or whether you're not, and you're just a civilian listening to this because you want to get to learn, what it's like for a cop. I want you to really get and understand and be clear as to where the police are coming from and understand why they're taking the action that they're taking. I will tell you that being on the road and like listening to my friends who are, or acquaintances that, are not police officers, you hear a lot of, oh, fucking cops, they're overreacting. Well, I don't think so, because you have no idea what they just saw. You have no idea their training. You have no idea the situation. You have no idea the past situations. Like, you really don't understand as a civilian how like quickly things can escalate. and how quickly things can go from fine to fucking awful and like shit, like really, really bad. And I think as a country, we're seeing it a little bit more and more, but a lot of fucking people have this mindset of, oh, that's never going to happen to me. Oh, well, it happened way out there, happened in that state or that town, but it's not going to happen to me. But like, I would just want to tell you, if you have that mindset, you are the sheep that us sheepdogs are protecting, because you have your head in the sand. And that's fine, right? I'm not making you wrong for that. That's fine. Like that's who you are. But that's why, we as sheepdogs, we are protecting. Like that's why we signed up to do what we did. And that's like why we are who we are. A sheepdog can be made. Like I'm very big into, my lady sheepdog movement and like really refining a female to really support her and bring her along to be a very, well squared away and well respected female officer. And I think that's extremely important. And I wish that I had it. But I have to tell you, I think a sheepdog is born. I don't really think a sheepdog is made. I think it's in your heart. I think it's in your heart. If you know in your heart that you want to like step up and serve and protect, then like you're a sheepdog. You know what I'm saying? So I'm all over all these different rants. And the last thing is like, people talk about police officers being robotic and overreacting and all these things. But I have to tell you, cops are fucking good. Like they think on their feet fast. And that is definitely qualification of being a police officer. So you got to be able to think on your feet, man. And, I'm sitting here with like a grin on my face. And I know if you're a cop, like you are probably thinking of like story after story after story that fucking you have of either yourself or like the people you work with, of like fucking cops just doing some funny, crazy shit, of, their stories and like the funny things that they've done, man. Whew. And, I just want you to know, especially if you're, the public, the civilian listening to this, cops, you got to give them a lot more credit than what you're giving them. Cops may not be like intelligent as far as like high IQs and score really high on tests and shit like that. But let me tell you what a cop is. Cops, we have common sense. We have more common sense than the typical, common person, because we have to, because common sense is what's going to save our lives. Is what's going to solve problems. And it's, honestly, it's kind of what keeps us grounded. Right. And so, that's what makes us be able to think so quick on our feet. And I'm telling you, one of my favorite stories are, if you guys have not watched Flint Town on Netflix, like do not make me come and like mama lady sheepdog your ass. Okay. Like you need to watch it. It's fucking awesome. And if you're a civilian, watch it, because it's going to show you exactly, what it's like to be a cop and both sides. And it's excellent. And I love it so much. Anyways, I'm sorry for the yawn. It's late. I always record my podcast late at night. So, anyways, one of the times, I can't say I haven't done this, but I'm going to blame it on Flint Town. There was a guy who was wanted. He had a warrant, and the reason why was because he was shooting people, or like assaulting people. Like, he'd call and he'd order a pizza, and then he'd fucking like take the pizza and like beat the shit out of the pizza delivery guy. And like, I think one time like he shot one or something like that. And so Flint Town PD, they go to his door, and he's got a warrant for his arrest. And it's like, I mean, they're there with like, they got the team, right? And they just pizza, and they had the female. Of course, they stuck the female, and they're like, pizza delivery. And of course, he comes and opens up the door, and they're like, "You're going to jail, bub." And it's fucking awesome. But anyways, I love stories like that. And like, it's just, cops are actually pretty creative and innovative. When you let them be, when the department heads let them be. And that's part of the job. That's really awesome. But anyway, so I just kind of wanted to go, and I really, this is part one. I've got a part two be next week of getting into a cop's head. We'll talk about some different other situations and scenarios. So if there's another part you want to hear about, then let me know. But this episode would be really good if you're a police officer for you to share out, because civilians need to hear this. And if you are, if you are not a police officer and this resonated with you, please share this out. If you made it to the end, you are a motherfucking rock star, and you need to come right onto my Instagram at the Lady Sheepdog. You need to let me know. You'll see a post, because I'll go and tell everybody that there's a new episode, and you need to come and you need to say, hey, Autumn, I made it to the end, and give me your opinion. Let me know how it is. And if you have made it here, do me a favor. Please go and on iTunes, give me a rating and like a review. Share this out, because, you hear me say it a lot, but I put my heart and soul into this. And the only thing I'm asking for back is just a review. So, and a share. If you like this, please review it and share it out. And I look forward to seeing you and hearing from you. So, you got anything to say? Let me know. Come on to Instagram, DM me. I'm pretty open. Again, if you're a female looking to get into law enforcement, or a female who could use to be involved in the Lady Sheepdog movement, get your ass in. I'm going to provide the link below, so you'll have it. And I don't have much else to say other than, stay vigilant. And I will see you next week.